Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And this week we've got a big local radio star with us on the show again. You've actually seen him on Lake TV. It's Kevin Hilley.
Hey.
And he does Talk of the Town feature here on Lake TV, and also a big star with Zimmer Radio, right?
Yeah.
Over at Cat Country and The Wave.
Yeah.
So we kept you up today because you usually do the morning show and then the midday show,
Yeah.
and now you're here for this.
Well, and I'm glad you recognize that, because a lot of people think, especially people who do morning radio, it's like, oh, wow, you guys are done at 10 a.m. What an easy day.
Yeah.
No. There's more involved than that.
Yeah, because, I mean, and most people don't know, but you have to record commercials.
Sure, yeah. There's,
Right.
as we call it in the business, production, right? We have production. We have, from time to time, we do live appearances. We have just other station-related things that we're doing. The days of just doing a morning radio show and then walking out the door for the really big names, that used to be the way it was, but I was never even that big like that. So.
Right, yeah. No, they make you work now. And then after you do mornings on Cat Country,
Right.
you do the midday show on The Wave.
Hop over to 101.9 The Wave from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But you know what? Honestly, Chris, I can't call it work.
No.
I mean, I hope my bosses aren't listening right now, because honestly, sometimes I pinch myself that they get paid for it. Don't let them hear that, because they may take me up on that offer.
Sure, absolutely. We used to say, it's better than having a real job.
It's true.
Right,
It's
yeah.
really true. Yeah.
But it is kind of cool that you get to talk for a living. But again, there's more to it than that. You can't just talk. You have to be a personality. People want to have to tune into you for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I mean, I've said for years, I'm doing what I wanted to do since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
When I was 10, I used to listen to the great boss jocks in Philadelphia. I grew up outside the Philadelphia area in New Jersey. And I listened to them and like, oh, those guys were my heroes.
Yeah.
People had movie heroes and TV heroes. I had radio heroes.
Yeah.
They were the ones I wanted to be. I didn't know how to do that, but I knew I wanted to do it.
I'm very similar story. First time I saw WKRP in Cincinnati, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Right,
So
yeah.
kind of similar. So you knew at the age of 10 that,
About 10 years old, yeah.
that you wanted to do radio.
Yeah, and again, I didn't know the how to, but I got to college, and I was fortunate that they had a campus radio station there. I walked into that building, walked downstairs, and it was kind of like Paul on the Emmaus Road. It's
Oh,
this is it. It was a revelation to me, and I said, this is what I do. And I was spending time there even when I should have been in class. I was spending time at the radio station.
Yeah, because of that love.
Exactly.
And you find that in radio people a lot.
Sure, we call it the bug.
Yeah.
Once you get the bug, even once you get out, it's
You
always
still
there,
have
still
it.
with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever tried to quit radio and you just couldn't?
Not by choice. There were a couple of times in my life, again, over 40 years in this business.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of times where it just didn't work out. Either I got dropped, the station got sold or whatever, and I was out of work for a year, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And no, to me, it was
Had to
never.
go back.
I had to go back. It was just not.
Yeah.
Being out of radio was not a happy place.
What did you
for
do
me at
that
all.
year in between when you were off the air?
I worked, believe it or not, I worked for a print shop. This was mid-'80s. I was managing a print shop for this guy who gave me a complete control of his business. It was his pride and joy, and that was actually a great learning experience for me. Just to be out in the real world and see how real people live their lives. Not everybody is behind the microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So how long have you been in the Lake area doing radio here? You've been in the business on the air for 40 years or so.
40 plus years. We've been in Missouri for 20 years. Came here in 2002 from New Jersey. I started actually at KPLA in Columbia.
Okay.
I was there for a few years. They got sold. Long story, hopped back and forth a couple stations. In 2008, I jumped in with Zimmer Communications, at the time Zimmer Radio and Marketing Group, now Zimmer Communications, as the morning show on 94.3 Cat Country. Aaron came in a short time after that, Hilley and Hart, 6 years we did that.
Yeah.
And then management said, well, we want to send you to the lake. We have a station there, 101.9 The Wave. We want your energy there.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I didn't know how long that was going to be. Turned into 8 years.
Wow.
And that was in 2014. So we've lived at the lake since 2014. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We rented a place for about 6 years. 2 years ago, we bought our house where we are now, and we absolutely love it.
It is a great place to live, isn't it?
Yeah, once or other they're going to bury me. So.
Yeah, there you go. Well, after Philadelphia, I mean, hey. So you knew what you wanted to do at 10, and then you got into it in college.
Yeah.
Just something you always wanted to do.
I did. I went to Houghton College in upstate New York, western New York, actually. I was about 65 miles out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
I experienced those western New York winters, by the way, too. I don't recommend them for anybody. Between the years in college with the snow and also spent 4 years in New Hampshire in the mid-90s, I always say I got my life's quota of snow. So I don't care if I never see another snowflake. I really don't.
And you did bring with you your sports teams because you love the Eagles.
Yeah, you know what?
You love the Phillies.
I bleed Eagles green, love my Phillies. But let me just tell you something about this, though, because I know a lot of Chiefs fans watch us.
Sure.
I love the Chiefs, too. There was a natural connection between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Andy Reid.
There you go.
The Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
It's a natural. So even in the Super Bowl, I congratulate the Chiefs. They won it fair and square. It was hard. I was rooting for the Eagles, not against the Chiefs, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think the Chiefs had a chance to win. I thought the Eagles were going to win easily.
Pretty much favorites.
So that was an easy game for me because I always just expected them to lose that anyway. So we're talking with a very famous radio DJ from our area. It's Kevin Hilley.
That and $1 will get you a cup of coffee, by the way, okay?
It used to be a quarter, right? So Kevin Hilley from Cat Country and The Wave. So we'll be back with Kevin. Learn more about him here on the Spotlight Show right after this. If you love the lake, you gotta love Lake TV. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC. We're talking with Kevin Hilley, big-time radio star for a long time at 94.3 Cat Country and 101.9 The Wave. You do morning show on Country, midday show on The Wave.
You got it.
And I don't know how you do all that. And on top of that, you are now doing a feature with us here on Lake TV called Kevin Hilley's Talk of the Town.
Love it. It is so much fun. And it really is a blast to do.
It's so fun to watch.
You know what's seriously, I was telling somebody about the show the other day. One of the fun things about Kevin Hilley's Talk of the Town is I'm really not the star of that show. The people that I talk to are the stars. They're the ones that make the funny lines and make me crack up.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm just sort of an instrument for them.
Yeah, it's turned out to be such a kind of popular show on Lake TV. It airs on Happy Hour every other week, and then you can see the older features all the time on Lake TV. So it's good to have you as part of the Lake TV family.
It's a thrill to be here, Chris. It really is.
You know, it's kind of changed over the years in radio where people didn't used to know what you looked like just because you were on the radio, but now with social media and stuff, they do know what you look like.
They're early on. You're right, and just you think of anybody you've ever heard on the radio before you knew what they looked like.
Yeah,
you pictured in your mind what you look like. Because the mind abhors the vacuum. You have to fill it in with something. Yeah. So you have a general idea what they look like. More times than not, people are shocked when they see me. Oh, you're Kevin Hill. Yeah. Oh,
You're not 6'8".
You're not. Yeah. That's kind of it. They put it in a nice way. Oh, you're not what I pictured. Yeah, I know what you're talking. You didn't expect a short, balding man to.
I know, but that is the funny thing about radio.
Yeah.
You know,
But so my voice carries so much gravitas. That's
but
what
it's a good thing you're so good looking that you can do TV too.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Cameras are melting right now.
so you call yourself a geek. Why is that? Why are you a geek?
I love technology. I really do, especially computer, anything digital, that kind of thing. My dad was a computer programmer.
Oh, okay.
Back in the early days. I mean, when we're talking the wall-size computers in the 50s and early 60s and mid 60s too. And he was kind of at the beginning of the computer revolution. He used to bring my brother and myself into work with him. And we watched everything he was doing. It was in the early days, the COBOL language and Fortran and BASIC, and he was teaching it to the next generation. And he used to bring us in with him from time to time, and I watched that. I was just mesmerized by it all.
And still are.
Apparently. I still am. I sometimes I really wish I lost my dad in '91. I really wish that he was around now just to see the level of technology. I don't even know what he'd say about artificial intelligence.
It's beyond. Yeah, I'd probably be scared like the rest of us about that. And you're also like a Star Trek guy?
I'm a Trek nerd. By the way, the correct term, it's not a Trekkie, it's a Trekker.
Oh, really? I thought it was Trekkie.
No, I know, because non-Trekkers think that.
Okay. Non-nerds think it's Trekkie.
And there's Trek versus Star Wars.
Yeah, is that a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I like Star Wars a lot. I mean, I like it, but I'm all about Trek. I'm a Trek guy, yeah.
So that's Captain Kirk, right?
Captain Kirk, Jean-Luc Picard.
Right, yeah.
Live long and prosper and get your fingers fixed.
Yeah, you gotta learn to do that, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
But I mean, all my favorites on there were Worf from The Next Generation,
yeah, absolutely.
Data, and Spock. Those are my three favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see Spock, Worf, and Dana. I don't know, nice suits, I guess, for Dana anyway. But and Spock, I mean, he was, a lot of the stuff he came up with, I watched an interview with him once, and this came from his Jewish upbringing.
Exactly. When the rabbi told everybody, you have to lower your head, don't look, right. Because when he said some words, the Shekinah glory of God was going to come down.
Right.
And that's what this was all. And he said, of course, he was a kid. He looked up to see. He saw the rabbi doing this.
Yeah.
And so they needed a symbol in Star Trek for Spock's, one of the women on his planet, as a symbol. He goes, well, what about this? Because it's I believe the word is she, if I'm not mistaken, she or shy, something like that. But it basically comes down. It's where shalom comes from. It means peace.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hey, who knew, right? Star Trek guy.
Trek nerd.
Trekker, right? Not Trekkie.
That's it.
All right. So now you say your parents are Irish and Armenian.
Yeah.
So
people are like, what, did your parents meet off the boat? What a weird combination, man.
How did that happen, right? Wow,
Yeah.
that's a crazy mix.
My dad's side of the family, Irish Catholic as they come.
Yeah.
My mom's side was Armenian. Her parents came right off the boat, literally. But they found each other, and I'm glad they did, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. So.
Absolutely. I mean, we all are.
In New Jersey,
So you do Talk of the Town, which is the feature here on Lake TV. You do mornings on Cat Country, middays on The Wave. You also do a lot of stuff on YouTube and different stuff like that. How, real quickly, we're down to our last minute.
Yeah.
How can folks find that?
I have a YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com, I believe it's /Kevin Hilley, YouTube channel, but you have the link there.
Right.
And it's a great, it's a lot of stuff that I've done from the radio, really. A lot of it is just radio stuff with pictures and graphics and everything added to it for added entertainment, but it's some pretty entertaining stuff.
Cool. And you do Talk of the Town on Lake TV, where you go out and talk with people on the street. That one is a lot of fun, so be watching Happy Hour.
And we have some great ideas lined up for it too.
Yeah.
Really fun stuff around the lake.
It's all good. You really have to be looking for that. And of course, Cat Country, where can people listen to you there?
Mornings from 5:30 till 10 on 94.3 Cat Country, and actually Saturday mornings as well, Saturday from 10 till 2 on Cat Country. And then 101.9 The Wave, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I have to think about it.
I know. It's like your own phone number.
For me, it's like way too much, Kevin, but let the listeners decide.
Well, there you go. Now you know so much more about Kevin Hilley, a local radio star and now a star on television at Lake TV 2. Thank you so much for watching us. It is Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.